Welcome, everyone. My name is Jessica. If you don't know me, my pronouns are she and her, and I am the owner of Violet Crown Yoga. I offer yoga around town. Currently, most of my yoga is virtual, though I do have some outdoor classes. But this is a class that's part of my Yoga in the Dark series. Just an intro class and a welcome back for students coming back to ACC. So I hope that the transition is going well. These are definitely challenging times. I don't think that I need to reiterate what you're experiencing in your life, but I hope that this is a space where you can feel safe to explore the comforts and the discomforts of your life, to acknowledge that this is what it means to be human, to experience these challenges, and this is where our growth occurs. I hope that it's space to acknowledge where you may need help, whether that's help in the form of yoga or some other type of physical activity, or help in the form of counseling, or a space where you realize that you need to take action to change your life, or where you just need to be present and have compassion for whatever it is that is currently in your life. This is a practice that I want to be accessible for everyone. So this is yoga in the dark because you don't actually have to see what I'm doing. I'll use my words to explain what's going on. You don't have to be fully able, you don't have to stand. You can do some of this in a chair as well. And I want you to know that you can rest at any time, just allowing the ground to support you or a chair to support you. And know that in this moment you are safe and supported. So we'll start out standing if that works for you. If not, you can stay seated in a chair or seated on the floor. If you're standing, you'll take your feet hips distance apart, and then maybe you close your eyes or take a soft gaze. Maybe that's not something that serves you. But start to bring your awareness inward, noticing how your breath is moving. Notice what is present in your body here. So maybe you can become aware of the energy in your body. Maybe it's different temperatures throughout your body. Notice the temperature of your body and how it compares to the space around you. Notice what thoughts are present here in your mind. And maybe your mind reflects what is in your body. Maybe your body reflects what is in your mind. Or maybe there is no connection there. But know that there is no right or wrong. This is a space in this moment where you can just acknowledge whatever it is that's here. If you choose to sit or lie on your back or just curl up in a ball for this whole practice, know that you have permission to do that. So the most important part is just being present here for yourself. Sometimes it helps to move and sometimes it doesn't. Let's bring a hand to your heart center and a hand to your belly. So heart center is just at the center of your chest. It's a little different in yoga where we talk about the heart chakra. It's not right over your actual heart. It's at the center of your chest. And then hand on your low belly, maybe your thumb's right at your navel and your forefingers fall beneath that. Begin to deepen your breath, so finding some length in your spine with your inhale. As you exhale, allow yourself to ground, connect to the earth. Let your knees be soft here. We'll open up here with a single Om. Let's take a full breath together first. So we'll take an inhale and exhale. We'll inhale to Om. Release your hands. If your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. So we'll start here. Again, if standing feels comfortable to you, we'll start working on some balancing. If you want to stay seated, we'll incorporate arm work into this as well, so you can just focus on the arm work. So if we're standing, let's take a moment to bring soles of your feet together. So big toes touch. And then again, you can close your eyes if that works for you, or turn your gaze inward. And notice how it feels to have your feet together. If you're seated, you can do the same thing. You can bring soles of your feet together. And then you can slowly start to open your eyes. We'll bring feet hips distance apart again. So just noticing that standing with your feet together is itself a balancing. So you might have noticed how the weight shifts a little bit between either foot as you practice that. So we'll start with hands on your hips here. On your inhale, you'll lift your heels up off the ground, coming up to your toes. And then as you exhale, you'll lower your heels back down. If you're seated in a chair, you can just work with your arms. So hands are low. On your inhale, you'll bring fingertips to touch your shoulders. As you exhale, you'll release your hands. If you are standing, you can start to work the same movement into your arms. So you lift your heels, fingertips come up to your shoulders. Exhale, you'll release your hands down, release your heels. Inhale as you lift. Fingertips touch your shoulders, heels lift off the ground. Exhale, lower. We'll inhale, lift one more time. We'll pause here. So fingertips can stay right here on your shoulders, or maybe you take your hands up toward the ceiling. Maybe you keep your elbows slightly bent, shoulder blades draw toward each other. You have a choice here to find an arm position that works for your body. Wherever you are, I want you to press back through the base of your skull. Feel your navel draw in and up so your spine is long here. Take one more inhale here. As you exhale, lower your heels, bring your hands back to your heart center. And then we'll pause with hands at your heart center. Let your thumbs press against your sternum as your sternum presses forward into your thumbs. All right. So you'll turn to face the front of your mat if you have a mat here. If not, you just want to have space to step your feet forward and back. We'll step toward the back, actually. I know I said front. But we're facing the front of your mat, walking toward the back of your mat. You'll take your left foot forward, maybe the length of your legs, and then take your right foot, you'll turn your toes out about 45 degrees. So as you come into this position with your feet, you want your hips to face mostly forward. They don't have to be perfectly square, but if you notice that they're open to the side a little bit, you can step either foot out to the side. So you have more space heel to heel on your mat. And then we'll start to bend your front knee. So that's bending your left knee here. We're going to inhale, sweep your arms up toward the ceiling. So if you prefer to stay seated in a chair, we're just going to do this arm work here. If you're standing, this is Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. So we'll find a little bit of movement here. On your inhale, we'll start to press through the ball of your left foot as you straighten your leg, reach fingertips for the ceiling. On your exhale, you'll bend your front knee, bend your elbows so your arms are like goalpost arms or cactus arms, shoulder blades squeeze together. And then we'll inhale as you straighten, press through the ball of that left foot. Exhale as you bend. Inhale, straighten, reach your fingertips for the ceiling, arms straighten. Exhale, bend your elbows, bend your knee. Inhale, one more time up. Exhale as you bend your elbows. So if you're seated in your chair, you'll just keep your elbows bent. And then we'll pause here. You're going to inhale, open your arms a little wider, so it's just like squeezing your shoulder blades together. And then on your exhale, forearms come toward each other. Palms and forearms touch. So it's like you're using a weight machine to squeeze together. We'll inhale, open your arms again. Exhale, forearms squeeze toward each other. Inhale, open. Exhale, we'll squeeze forearms toward each other one more time. And then here, we're going to touch palms. And then forearms all the way together if that works. Sometimes elbows separate a little bit if your shoulders are tight, and that's fine. We're going to find a little bit of a pulse here. So you're just going to inhale as you lift your fingertips up, exhale as you drop down. So you're just kind of shifting your forearms up and down. Your legs are still in this warrior stance if that works for you. This is usually more work than it actually looks like. So just pulsing your arms, the forearms up and down. And then we'll bring the forearms back to this neutral position. So they're still touching in front of your face here. Palms are touching. You'll take your right arm under your left. So you can reach around and grab your shoulders, maybe lifting your elbows up a little bit, or you can bring the backs of your hands and your forearms to touch, or you can twist a little bit more and maybe your palms come to touch. So you've got your arms wound around each other. Any of those variations are fine. And then wherever you are, you can lift your elbows slightly up. Draw your shoulders back. Let your breath expand in between your shoulder blades. Let your breath be long and steady. Maybe take a few big exhales here. And then we're going to inhale. You'll unwind your arms. Sweep your hands up toward the ceiling. They can move out like wings or forward. Palms touch overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart center. And then you'll step your feet together. And then just pause for a few breaths. Let your thumbs rest against your sternum. Notice how each side of your body feels. And then you can release your hands. We'll step back again to make space to work on the opposite side. So you'll take your right foot forward this time. So it's about a leg's distance. Left toes turn out about 45 degrees. We'll start to bend your right knee. So again, you want your hips to square facing forward. It doesn't have to be perfectly square, but if you find that your left hip is open a lot to the side, you can step either the right foot to the right or the left foot out to the left a little bit more. Let's inhale, sweep your arms up toward the ceiling. We'll exhale, bend your elbows, so shoulder blades squeeze together. On your next inhale, you'll root through the ball of your right foot as you straighten your legs, straighten your arms, fingertips reach for the ceiling. Exhale, bend your knee, bend your elbows. Inhale as you straighten. You'll continue this, letting your breath guide your movement. So your arms, as you bend them, they're like those goalpost or cactus arms. And then the next time we bend, we'll pause here. So you can just pause with your elbows bent if you're seated in a chair. You'll inhale, you'll open your arms a little wider, shoulder blades squeeze together. As you exhale, forearms and palms come to touch in front of your face. And then we'll inhale, open wide. Exhale, forearms and palms come to touch. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, one more time. We're going to pause here. So forearms and palms touching. If your elbows need to come apart a little bit, totally fine, or a lot even. And then we'll start to pulse. So you're just going to lift your fingertips up and down, or you'll lift your whole forearm up and down. Fingertips lift it a few inches. As you do this, and then you'll come back to that starting position. So forearms or wrists are right in front of your gaze. You'll take your left arm, thread it under your right. So you may grab your shoulders. So arms crossed, hands on your shoulders. It's kind of like giving yourself a hug. You may bring the backs of your forearms and palms to touch. You may wrap them around to where your palms are actually clasping each other. And then wherever you end up, you'll lift your elbows slightly, draw your shoulder blades back, and let your breath expand in between your shoulder blades. If you're standing, you're still in this warrior stance, this powerful stance here, connected to the earth. A few big breaths, maybe using really big exhales. And then we'll inhale as you unwind your arms. You can sweep them out to the side or in front of you. Palms touch overhead. As you exhale, bring your feet to meet. Bring your hands to meet at your heart center. Let your thumbs press into your sternum. Sternum presses forward into your thumbs. Take a moment just noticing how each side feels. Release your hands. So now we'll take a wide stance on our mat. So imagine if you took your hands parallel to the ground. You can actually do this. You don't have to imagine. So hands parallel to the ground. And you'll take your ankles, maybe aiming for your wrists. It doesn't have to be that wide. We'll bring hands to your heart center here. Again, you can stay seated if you'd like to do this and just do the arm work with this. So we'll inhale, take your hands up toward the ceiling. So you're just reaching for the ceiling, fingertips reach for the ceiling. As you exhale, you'll soften your shoulders. That just means drawing your shoulder blades down your back here. On your inhale, we're going to come into a squat. So toes are pointed in the same direction as the knees as you squat. And then on your exhale, you're going to lift. Imagine that you're pulling your arms back. So you're making little fists as you pull your elbows back behind your mat. It's like you're pulling on a workout band. And then you'll inhale, scoop your palms forward and up as you squat. And then exhale, as you straighten your legs, you'll pull back again like you're pulling on a workout band. Inhale, arms up. As you squat, exhale, you'll pull back. Inhale, scoop your hands up toward the sky as you squat. Exhale, you're going to pull back. And then we'll inhale one more time to the squat. What we'll do here is bring fingertips to touch overhead. So my elbows are bent out to the side, fingertips are touching. That can be a little bit of a challenging balance pose, just to touch there. So if you're standing, you're in the squat. If you're seated, you've just got your hands touching overhead. You're going to breathe. This is definitely a heat generating pose if you're in the squat. And then we're going to lift your right heel up off the ground. So you're just coming to the ball of your right foot. You can release that. We're going to lift your left heel up off the ground. Release that. You can stay right here for an extra balance challenge. You can lift both heels up off the ground. It may sound crazy. It's okay to fall out of it. Exhale, release that. We're going to inhale, straighten your legs, sweep your hands out to the side and up overhead. Palms touch overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. It's like a prayer pose here. And then you'll heel toe your feet to meet. And then just pause. Again, notice where you generated heat. And then you can turn to face the front of your mat again. Let's inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, thumbs reach back behind you. So a little bit of a back bend here. So palms are facing each other, thumbs drawing back. On your exhale, let's find a forward fold. You can bring your palms to touch, moving right down the center line in front of your body. Soft knees as you fold. Let your fingertips touch the ground. If they don't touch the ground, bend your knees as much as you may need to get them on the ground. Then we'll inhale, lift up to a halfway point. So your spine is long and flat here. You're kind of like a number 7 in your shape. And then you'll exhale, plant your hands. You'll start to walk your feet back. We're going to come into a V shape here, or an upside down V. This is downward facing dog. If you're seated in a chair, you can just fold forward over your legs here. So downward facing dog, your feet are about hips distance apart, knees are soft, so just a very slight bend in your knees. Your hands are shoulder width distance, and you want to have your head in between your biceps. So if you find yourself where your weight is more in your hands and your head is forward over your hands, you're going to bend your knees more, press your hips up and back so your head lines up right in between your biceps here. And then you'll shake your head yes and no, relieving any tension in your neck and shoulders. We'll inhale. Let's bring your knees down to your mat. Big toes touch. As you exhale, we'll press back into child's pose. So in child's pose, big toes touch, knees can be wide or close together. You can have your forearms resting on the ground and your head resting on the ground, or you can use a blanket to prop your head up if you'd like. And again, if you're seated in a chair, a forward fold is fine at this point, or just a seated position, just turning your gaze inward. So child's pose is a forward fold, and forward folds are very introspective. So it's just coming into a stance that's introspective, noticing your breath, noticing how it feels to be supported by the earth. So maybe it's your feet touching the ground, maybe it's your shins, your forearms, and your forehead. All right, as you're ready, you can start to make your way up. So we'll come into a seated position now if you're not seated already. If you're seated on the ground, I'll suggest folding up your blanket or your towel a few times so you have a few inches of lift. And then you'll bring your sits bones, the bones on either side of your tailbone, right to the edge so you've got a little opening through the front of your hips. I'm sitting cross-legged, but you can sit kneeling, you can sit with your legs extended. If you find that your knees are lifted higher than your hips in a cross-legged position, you can fold your blanket up even more where you have several inches of lift, or you can stack a few blankets to bring your hips a little higher. And then just take a moment, let your hands rest on your legs here, palms facing down. And I want you to notice the sensation between your palms and your legs. And then notice your breath. And then notice all the points of your body that are touching the earth, and acknowledge that you have the support of the earth beneath your body. So we'll practice some pranayama here. So pranayama in yoga is breath work. Prana is life force energy. It's like chi, if you're familiar with Eastern medicine. So it's just this energy that keeps us vital. And then pranayama is just an extension of that energy. It's an extension of the breath work. So there are lots of different ways we can manipulate our state, our present state, by using our breath. You can breathe faster to energize yourself. That can also cause anxiety if you're prone to anxiety. It can be great if you are depressed and feel a lull. That fast breath is great, but what we'll do today is just a very balancing breath. Anytime that we practice pranayama, I want you to know that if it causes anxiety, just come back to a long, steady breath, one that feels natural to you. You can focus more on your exhale. If you are feeling anxious or ungrounded, you can take a longer exhale or exhale with a sigh. So know that you always have permission for that. So we'll start here. You can close your eyes or take a soft gaze and notice your natural breath. Notice the length of your inhale compared to the length of your exhale. And you can start to put a count to your inhale and your exhale, and just notice which one is longer, if one is longer. And then we'll start to make that inhale even with your exhale. So you'll make that count the same. So it may be a count of 4, it may be a count of 6 as you inhale. On your exhale, you'll match that. And then as you find that steady inhale and that steady exhale, we'll add 2 parts to this breath. So after your inhale, you'll hold your breath in for a count of 1. Just let your navel draw in toward your spine slightly as you hold. And then on your exhale, or after your exhale, you'll hold your breath out for a count of 1. So there's 4 parts. The inhale, maybe your count is 4 or 6 or some other number. The pause for a count of 1. The exhale that matches your inhale. And then the pause for a count of 1 after your exhale. You can slowly start to return to your normal breath, releasing any control that you have here. And notice where your mind went or where you went in that pause between breaths. Know that you can find that space between action and reaction, between events of your day. You can pause for 10 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, and come back to yourself. Come back to your breath. Feel the support of the earth beneath you. And know that in this moment, whatever your experience, it is a valid experience. So you may have comforts and you may have discomforts, and many times we experience both of those at the same time, and neither one invalidates the other. So know that this is what it means to be human. We face challenges in life, and we can persevere through the hard times. But take care of yourself. Be tender with yourself during tough times. Take breaks as you need breaks. Ask for help as you need help. And know that you're always supported by the earth with whatever you may face. So we'll bring hands to touch at your heart center, so palms are facing each other. Thumbs rest against your sternum. Bow your head down to your hands here. And I honor all of your lightness and all of your darkness. And I'm grateful to offer this practice to you and to share your energy on this earth. And I thank you for practicing.